All right, guys. COVID Cabal's returned. Back again. COVID Cabal. My friends, we are in the 11th hour. We are in. Sorry, I'm not. What the fuck am I doing here? What the fuck am I doing here, guys? Headphones were off. Headphones were out of the phone. How we rolling? How we feeling, team? How we feeling? How we feeling? Trump is obviously for the people. You have to understand. Look, I'll talk some stuff about vaccines today. I'm gonna talk some stuff about vaccines, but I just want to say this off the bat, okay, to answer this question. If you do not support vaccines, as a political candidate, you are dead in the water. Okay, guys? There are people who will not leave their house until they get the vaccine. So if you, as a politician, would say we're not doing vaccines, then it's just not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen. All right. So Trump has been on record for a decade almost a decade, talking about, yeah, dude, you should 100% drive to DC. DM me on Twitter if you're going to come. I'll add you to the group. So he's been on record for almost a decade talking about kids getting vaccines and getting autism. Okay. So also, let's not lose signal through noise. The fog of war, guys. If you don't have a heart to discern, you're gonna get tied up on little things and you're gonna panic. You can't do that. So, but first, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry. It would have been great to see you there. But first, we gotta do the wine. All right. People want to see the wine. Some people don't, but most people want to see the wine. The wine's part of the deal here. So this is fun. Okay. Today we're doing. So remember last time we did Valpolicella last time. So we are in Verona, right? We are in Verona. Okay. So in Valpolicella, last time we did just a regular Veronese, little regular Veronese red. We did Valpolicella, Ripasso, and we did a Valpolicella. Okay. This time, what was the other one we did actually? I feel like we did a Bardolino. That's right. Yeah, we did Bardolino, we did Valpolicella Ripasso, which is in here, and we did just a regular Verona Red. So we checked out these three areas right here, okay? We are going to be doing next time, and we're going to have that probably on the 4th or the 5th. Actually, we'll be doing a dating relationship at maybe tomorrow night. So whatever, we'll figure it out. Next time, we're doing Valpolicella regular red, and we're going to do Amarone. But this time, guys, this is really big glare on the map here. This time we're doing Soave. Soave, guys. You know Soave stands for in Italian? Suave. Now, this is a wine. This area has incredible fertility. Incredible fertility. Like, you can grow, there's stuff growing all over the place here. It's the confluence of the Adige River off of Lake Garda. It's got tons of very fertile volcanic soil, especially in the western portion of this. Soave, unfortunately, if you recall from the Valpolicella discussion, they allow yields too high. And again, yields that are very high lead to bad wine because the wine doesn't have the chance to struggle. So, unfortunately, a lot of Soave is crap. It's crap. Just very, very light, simple drinking stuff. There's nothing special to it. Even though Soave, which is 70% Garganega, okay, 30% Trebbiano di Soave, or some other stuff, could be even Chardonnay. But Garganega is the primary grape here. And Garganega actually has a ton of potential. It's got thick skin. Remember, thicker skin white wines tend to have more flavor to them, a little more rot resistant. You could probably do orange wines out of Soave, out of Garganega, or whatever. But most of the yields are too bad. They're not nothing special. And even though they've done like, Soave Classico or Soave Superior, it's kind of bullshit because the yields are still way too high. So how do you get a good Suave? Because obviously there are still some producers who care. There's still some producers who want to do it right, want to make some fascinating stuff, want to make some really good Suave with low yields. And I just happen to have one of those producers with us tonight. So I'm excited for this one because we're going to try Suave Classico from one zone, Suave from just a regular DOC, and then we're going to try this other Suave, Piropan. Now, this is one of the best producers in Suave. Okay, they have a reputation for really quality stuff. So we're going to see what's the difference between these. I'm expecting these two won't be terribly different, but I'm expecting this one to be a big jump. So let's check it out. Man, energy is crazy. I think we all feel it's not long now. It's not long now, guys. All right, so off the bat, looking at these wines, no real difference in color. No real difference in color. They're all a lime green of sorts. Just want to make sure that yeah, they're all about the same color. They're all like a very light lime green. And so let's see. This is the Saint Michel. Nice and refreshing. But there's not a lot of flavor, I have to say. I mean, you definitely have like red apple flavor. Like a really like bright red yeah, like a bright red apple. Like as in maybe yellow apple. Definitely not green though. Definitely not green apple. It almost tastes sweet. And I don't know, I don't think that they added any residual sugar though. But it almost tastes sweet. It's such a round flavor. Let's try number 2. This is the Albino Armani. So this has a little bit of funk on the nose. The first one might have had a little bit too. Yeah, so they both have a little bit of funk on the nose, almost like a mustiness. Definitely different. So I like this Albino Armani. I like it a little better. And what I like about it, they're both very similar, but I like it a bit better because the second one, this Armani one, it feels a little better made. I don't even know if the flavor is as intense, but the flavor seems sort of out of sync with the structure. It's like you get this kind of like round, almost overbearing kind of like apple flavor, but it doesn't feel super refreshing. And I always wonder about this, guys. I mean, there really is nothing wrong for wines that are meant to be drunk early to have the screw top, but I always wonder about it. I'm a little bit too traditional. I'm always a little bit skeptical. I mean, certainly when it comes to aging, you don't want that because it won't be able to age. But for a light wine that you're going to have in a year or two, no big deal. Now let's try the Pierre Pen. This is the one I'm excited about. And this is obviously more expensive. I think it was almost twice as expensive. So let's see if it's worth it, right? Let's see if it's worth it. Well, all right. Right off the bat, you smell this, and it's incredible. Totally different experience. Okay, these ones you get a little bit of mustiness, but this is like, God, how do I describe it? I've got this smell off of like really nice, really nice Etna Biancos. And whenever you smell a white wine with this kind of smell, it also is like reminiscent of the way that really fine white Burgundies are. It's a little bit of a different smell, which is why I go first to the Etna Bianco. But whenever you smell a white wine with this, and it's like, it's almost like it's like almonds. It smells like almonds. And guys, this is actually, that's right. It's almonds. And this is the thing when it comes to Garganega, the main grape in Suave, is that they tend to really go towards almonds and lemons, right? That's the kind of two things you get. But you have to control the yields. If you don't control the yields, none of that flavor gets expressed. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It is like it would be, you would have to really have experience with this to understand the difference, like to understand that these two wines come from the same place. Like these two, very much the same, slight differences, completely different, completely different, completely different, guys. If you want to, I mean, I don't think this was a cheap one, but just like really good shit, really, really good shit. So if you're looking for to taste the real deal, I would recommend it. I would really, really recommend this Pan. I know it wasn't that expensive. I think, frankly, it's probably a bargain because most people don't know the brand, so they can't command the price. Actually, I bet you anything that the reason that they don't put Suave on the front, you notice that they have it just in really tiny, they have it here, but they have it on the back. They want to be recognized not with the rest of the appellation. These guys are like, hey, it's Suave, Suave, right? So people know it's a Northern Italian white. They're like, no, don't think of us like we're Suave. We're Pan. We do things differently than these fuckers. All right, guys. Energy. Energy's big right now. No, I'm not a super taster. I am a taster. I have tested. I mean, whatever, for what the fuck it's worth. I was tested to have above average taste buds. But to be honest, guys, also wine is really more smell than taste. And my nose has been clogged up a lot. Like, I think it's better now, but I used to barely be able to ever breathe out of my left nostril, and that's because I had really bad, like my spine was all fucked up, and I'm getting that fixed right now. And since I've been doing that, I actually breathe out of my left nostril. I pretty much spent most of my life breathing out of one nostril. So I thought I had a deviated septum. I was just out of alignment. So you see a good chiropractor, they can really fix you up. But what I drink on New Year's Eve, well, we had the last CABAL, right? Last CABAL, we had a bunch of Cremonts. Broke the Italian trend temporarily, do some bubbly. So look, I'll touch briefly on the crypto stuff, but guys, I don't want to talk too much about things I don't know. And I know a lot of you guys want me to get into crypto, and I am trying to get into crypto. Frankly, I'm rebuilding my position after the temporary loss of funds from the bets. So, which is fine. I mean, I'm not in any negative financial situation at all, but I'm really not in the place to want to speculate. I mean, I could speculate, and I did buy some Ripple. I did buy about $1,000 worth of Ripple. So, take that for what it is. I was getting a lot of comments from people about getting Ripple that I know that the Fed cracked down on Ripple. And so I bought about, how much did I buy? I bought about like 900, almost 900, 850 worth. I bought 850 worth of Ripple, and I converted my Ethereum, which was about like 300, into Ripple. So I got my Bitcoin. I mean, I bought Bitcoin back in 2017. I bought 0.1 Bitcoin, and that's like 10x. So I had like 250 worth of Bitcoin. Now it's like 2,500. So I got quite a bit of Bitcoin from that perspective, quite a bit of money from that. But and Bitcoin went up again. I could have put it in Bitcoin maybe. I'm not going to put anything more into this right now. But it's nice to have a little bit in Ripple just to kind of see what happens. I don't care about $1,000. It's like whatever. But so it'll be interesting to see what occurs with it. But yeah, guys, basically the competing things. There's a lot of chatter about Bitcoin being CABAL. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the opposite of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the freedom of humanity. And I've heard a lot of things from people involved with crypto who have talked about, the downsides of Ripple and how Ripple is centralized and more regulated, and Bitcoin isn't. Bitcoin's decentralized. If you guys remember Austin Steinbart, whatever the deal with Austin Steinbart is, right? Austin talked about Ripple. The first time I heard about Ripple was back in March last year. Yeah, Dogecoin is the only thing I put all my. I actually did not bet, guys. I have to be honest with you. I didn't bet money on Trump. I lied to you. I bet on Dogecoin. I put all of my money into Dogecoin. So I have about $300,000 worth of Dogecoin right now, and feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good about the Dogecoin. I'm joking. Obviously, I didn't do that. Although Dogecoin, I actually knew about Dogecoin back in 2012, and I was thinking about putting money in. I wish I had. I should have done it. I should have done it. But so he mentioned that Ripple was going to replace the Swift system, and then I thought it was really interesting that like a month or two ago, Ripple started to really blow up. Started to like really blow up, and people were talking about this, and then one of the people got, I guess, in trouble with the FEC or whatever, or SE whatever, I don't FEC I think, and it dropped. And so I figured, everyone kept telling me this is a temporary thing, it's going to really shoot up, and it seems like what Austin was saying was correct, that that would be a really big role for it to replace the Swift system. But I don't want to speculate too much on this because it's not my forte. I need to go down the rabbit hole, and frankly, guys, I try to keep up so much with what's going on. Also got the baby. Need to get back in other things with my business, and I'm trying to keep up on like what's the pace of things, and I just don't have like a real intuition that, yeah, SEC, right? FEC I meant to say. I don't really have a really big intuition that I should be like, I'm not going to be the crypto guy that you should follow. Which I'm not debating the role of crypto in the cabal one way or another. The only thing I'll tell you with Bitcoin that's kind of sketchy is that China is huge with Bitcoin. It's huge. I mean, China has enormous, enormous farms mining Bitcoin. So, and also, I'm not sure how bullish and how positive Trump's been on Bitcoin. So I haven't really seen positive things from Trump on Bitcoin. And so that's one of the reasons people have been saying that Bitcoin's cabal. And guys, I don't know. I don't know. I mean that. I'm not like dropping this stuff and saying, there's a lot of people on our side who are all about Bitcoin. All about Bitcoin. And who knows what's going to happen with it? Who knows? But I got 0.1 Bitcoin. I got about $1,000 worth of $1,000 or so worth of Ripple. Whatever. We'll see. So see, David, I got Ethereum 3 years ago, and my Ethereum went up 6%. It was like fucking nothing. That's why I got rid of it. I just got rid of it. I converted it to Ripple because it was, I don't know, Vitaly Bulkin or whatever is a piece. I mean, I want to use a different word. I'm not a big fan of him. I think he's I'm not making fun of libertarians. He's a libertarian. He's one of those people that, just believes in, he's like a techno futurist and everything. I don't like these people. I think he's a piece of shit. Personally, I think he's a piece of shit. And so kind of even don't want to have anything in there. But I mean, people were talking about Ethereum 3 years ago, and then, people were talking about Ethereum 3 years ago as like this big thing competing with Bitcoin, and it didn't. And so, yeah, Vitalik's a Teal fanboy. Well, Teal's okay, so I don't know, whatever. But anyway, whatever. I got rid of my Ethereum, so now I can talk shit on it. I'm not buying any more coins, guys. If I get any more coins, it's going to be Dogecoin. I'm literally only going to get Dogecoin, and I'm going to do that because I want to be part of the Doge movement. But look, fuck all that stuff. Who cares? Who cares about this stuff? Let's talk about the runoffs. Let's talk about what's happening next coming days. All right. So we've got some really interesting stuff going on with Lynn Wood, right? Lynn Wood is going ham right now, guys. Lynn Wood is going ham. And so what's the story with that, Lynn? What's the story with that, Lynn? What's going on with Lynn Wood? Well, look, I'll tell you guys this. Lynn Wood is not saying anything. Lynn Wood is not saying anything that he is not supposed to say. Okay? And probably the only thing I detect as being, you know, the only thing that Lynn is saying that might not be true is regarding Pence. The only thing. I am talking about XRP, yeah, Ripple, XRP. The only thing that might not be true that he's saying is Pence. The only thing, right? But if he's saying that as part of selective disinformation. That's all. That's the reason he's doing it, because there's something around Pence that we need to be confused about. We need to have some confusion around Pence. Now, we've talked about the Pence theories before. I don't want to really reiterate them too much here. It feels like some days that Pence is a good guy, everything's going to work out fine. And then it feels like right afterwards that maybe he's not. Maybe he's not going to be fine. And that's the way they want it. They want no one to know. They want no one to know. Well, Lynn's a Democrat Klan guy. I mean, look, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that comes from. Did the Ku Klux Klan, you had Hillary Clinton and Byrd, right? Byrd was her mentor, Senator Byrd of West Virginia, who was a Klansman. Like he was a big leader in the Ku Klux Klan, actually. I mean, the reality is that it doesn't mean anything. Maybe that was the case. Lynn Wood is obviously on the side of truth right now, and I think that we need to be careful about. Look, I'm not saying that suppress that information, blah blah blah, but we need to be really careful about focusing on bullshit, things that don't matter, and things that do. Okay, at this juncture, there's no way that Lynn Wood is involved with the Ku Klux Klan. Was he when he was much younger? No, we'll talk about why it might and might not matter. Okay, use some logical thinking here for a second. Lynn Wood is involved with people who are fighting against the cabal. We understand the Ku Klux Klan was part of the cabal. Okay, Hillary Clinton's mentor, Senator Byrd, who was involved with all sorts of disgusting shit. Okay, they were all involved with the Klan. Okay, so if Lynn Wood is this aggressively against them, you need to use logical thinking. People were saying the same things about Trump for a very, very long time. For a very, very long time. They were saying that Trump was actually with the cabal because he was in pictures with these people. He went to Hillary Clinton's wedding, right? Or Hillary came to his wedding. Okay, so you can sit here and you can focus on Lynn Wood maybe being in the Klan. You can talk about this. But when you're focused on this, what else? What are you not focused on? Do you think that Lynn Wood is cabal? Do you think Lynn Wood's cabal? Because if you think Lynn Wood's cabal, I don't have to tell you. Not a lot there, guys. Not a lot there if you think Lynn Wood's cabal. Lynn Wood has been entrusted with a lot of higher secrets. He's a false flag. This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, dude. It doesn't make any sense. So just get off the horse with it. Get off the horse. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. We can look more into it. You're the first person who's told me. You're the first person who's told me Lynn Wood's in the Klan. The first person that told me that. I don't even know what you're basing it on. I don't even know what you're basing it on. If you can send me a Klan pic. Yeah, this is just getting tedious. Getting tedious here. So, whatever. Anyway, look, it's gonna be more of this, guys. It's gonna get serious. It's gonna get serious. It's gonna get really, really serious in the coming. It's gonna get really, really serious in the coming weeks. If you think this is a troll right now, we're gonna get so many trolls as this month goes on. We're gonna get so many trolls. Okay, we're just gonna have to be prepared to deal with it. You're gonna have to be prepared to deal with it. And look, you guys can look in that. You guys can look into that for me. Go check it out. Go check out what this guy said. Is Linwood in the Ku Klux Klan? It looks like they might have killed a PA state rep a little bit ago. Remember, they also killed a representative in Louisiana for the House of Representatives, right? He also died of COVID. So we do have. I mean, they're taking out people, guys. They're taking out people. We know that. We know they're taking out people. They're trying to do this stuff. Yeah, let low. That's right. So look, Linwood's going ham right now. Linwood is going ham. He's going ham, and he's dropping all sorts of stuff. He's dropping about all the stuff that we knew already. Those of us in the know knew about. Those of us in the know knew about. What do we know about? We knew about Justice Roberts, right? We knew about Justice Roberts. We knew about the sketchy stuff with his adoption of kids from Ireland, right? We knew about the sketchy things with him on Epstein's flight log. And now Linwood's confirming all this stuff for us. He's confirming all this stuff for us. Now, the only thing that he's been saying that some people have a hard time with is Pence. And I'm going to tell you guys my personal feelings on this. Okay, I'm telling you my personal feelings, and I don't really know I don't know if it's correct. But I can tell you this. Mike Pence was around and friends with a lot of people that we see as being cabal today. Okay? And there was this whole stuff, McConnell's email, all this stuff with Pence and Ryan and plotting against Trump. There's been a lot of word that Pence has already been removed. People talk about his plane. His plane doesn't show on flight logs as Air Force 2. It shows as, Sam 12 or whatever. Some people have said that comes from the Bible verse. Yeah, there's the fly on Obama and Hillary Clinton and Pence, right? Now, people like Michael Jaco think that the real Pence has been taken out a while ago and that we have a clone Pence, and so therefore clone Pence is going to do the right thing. Here's my dilemma. It was CGI. Well, they would use a clone because that way that perhaps the cabal didn't know if Pence was still there or not. And this would be a logical thought in a certain sense, because that he had been taken out or turned by the White Hats. And if he was taken out, then it would be a clone in his place. And if he was turned, then he would be doing whatever the right thing. I've heard a lot that he will do the right thing on the 6th, but then he will resign because, he'll have played this role in trying to do things and he'd have to resign. And that would allow him to resign on a good note, right? Yeah, do the right thing and resign. Exactly. The fly was fake CGI, and that was placed there. It was placed there on all of these individuals, right? Because you can tell they're not even responding to it. Because if somebody was responding to it, they would, obviously, sorry, but when there's a fly in your face, okay? So, and I'm inclined to believe something like this. This is what I can tell you. There is no way that Trump would put Pence in a position to destroy him. Okay? There's no way that would happen. There's a lot of rumors flying about around the other night that Pence was removed and that we had someone different there, right? And that, he was arrested. I mean, there was also some stuff going around that was just troll shit. But Trump would not put Pence in a position to destroy him, right? Trump would not put Pence in a position to destroy him. On the other hand, use your heart for a second. Okay, guys, take a second and feel into this statement. Feel into it. Do you see Pence as a leader in building the new world? Feel that for a second. Do you feel no? Right? No. Nobody feels Pence in the new world. There's always been something about Pence that is just simply not connected to the movement. It's just not. He's like, I have AirPods, dude. AirPods fry my brain. My energy is too sensitive at this point. Seriously, I get a headache when I use AirPods. I I'm very sensitive to electromagnetic signals. I have a EMF blocker in the house, so I don't use AirPods. My wife got them for me for my birthday in 2019. She got them all monogrammed and everything, and I was like, I can't do this. It's like really hurting my head. So Pence is I don't feel him. I don't feel him. In fact, in a certain sense, I kind of don't feel him there like I don't feel Biden there. Isn't that interesting? Some of these people, they don't feel like they're there anymore. And that maybe that goes into the clone argument, maybe that goes into that they're put away. But it's almost like you don't feel the presence of them in a real sense. So whether it's I think it's unlikely that Pence is going to. First off, I'm not even really convinced that Pence has that much power. I kind of think this whole thing is a psyop. It doesn't make any sense constitutionally. Pence can't just throw out electoral votes and decide everything. It's absurd. It's a poor interpretation of how the Constitution works. He really just monitors the affair. He runs the affair. He doesn't have the ability to decide everything for everybody. It's just ridiculous. But Lin Wood is seeding ideas about Pence, and so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. I don't know. But I can tell you this. This is what I do know that's going to happen. Okay, we have Pompeo. We have on you know the 4th of January, CIA, a new look. A new look. Okay? CIA, a new look on January 4th. We have Pompeo, who's a very good guy. Pompeo, we know, is inner circle, good guy. He's going to be dropping some stuff, telling the story behind the scenes over the next couple days. Trump has said himself he's going to be dropping tons of evidence, and I bet you anything Trump's going to be giving a big speech. Now, it may not be like the My Fellow American speech. I don't think it's going to be that. But he's going to be given a legit speech, a legit speech. The Pompeo Barr tweet is this is one of the ones about that indicated that Barr was actually a good person, a good guy. Q always said trust Barr. Barr may be operating in the future in a witness capacity. Guys, I've heard 220,000 sealed indictments. 220,000 sealed indictments. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've heard 26 governors. Well, I don't know. I don't know to what extent. I mean, I guess it depends on how Trump structures it. It depends on how he structures it. But they probably will block out a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they block out a lot. And they might do that. They might do that because that's an opportunity for them if they block out Trump's speech, right? That's an opportunity for them to then deny what happened here actually happening, right? They could deny that what happened here actually happens. There's a lot that's starting to suggest that we might get this legal victory on the 6th. We might get it on the 6th. There's a lot to suggest. I think it's still a coin flip, but there's plenty of evidence to suggest we might get this on the 6th because they're going to drop a ton of information out there, a ton of evidence. And there's going to be a million patriots outside waiting for the right verdict to happen. So we might get it. But the reality is that if we don't get it, or if we do get it even, the media might still cover it up. I mean, I want to prep you guys for this. I know Salman's not very happy with this stuff. Although I want to also be clear, I have been saying for a very long time that this would be going into the spring. I was hoping, and I really thought that we would have more clarity. And I thought it would be this, like, we know Trump's won the re-election and he's fighting, he's taking him out. The deception is that's apparently not how it's supposed to go down. It's a lot. There's a lot more deception. Trump's waiting to the very, very last second to deal with this stuff. And let's be honest here. It's a good thing he did, because if Trump hadn't waited till now, we would have none of this information. we would not have it public about how corrupt our system is. We would not know to what extent the courts were corrupt. We wouldn't know. And so by waiting to this last minute, we get to really see everything, get to really see the entire system collapse. And the people can really, really be engaged. So it's a positive, but I will admit, of course, that I thought that it would be resolved by the 14th. But maybe it's the 6th, maybe it's the 20th. But it doesn't matter, because even if they say on the 20th, when Trump's inaugurated, even if they keep saying that they do a green screen, they show Biden inaugurated, they run with this fake shit, and probably what they'll do is they're not going to say that Trump isn't trying to be inaugurated. They're going to say that Trump stole the election, that Trump stole the election from Biden. So they'll gaslight, they'll project it out. That's probably what they'll do. And so then they'll show Biden getting inaugurated on a green screen, and they're going to claim that that's the legitimate inauguration. So energetically, once May hit and I understood that this COVID thing wasn't going to stop after 6 weeks, and that, and in hindsight, it's absurd that I would think that. The problem is that when you kind of feel into 5D, there's almost like a timelessness. Like, you can see the outcome already. And so when you can feel the outcome, you can sometimes feel it to happen, because, like, you're plugged into something. If you're plugged into that timeline, then that timeline's already occurring. You're already experiencing that timeline. So, for instance, I feel, right? Like, I felt that it's over for them. I felt that for such a long time, and I felt the outcome. I felt the victory. I felt everything. And that's kind of like, but 3D has to catch up with 5D. 3D is slower, it's denser, and we have to allow this other timeline to play out. And so while it's like Trump won the election, like, it's over. It's like, well, in 3D, that hasn't occurred yet. That's still playing itself out in 3D. On 5D, it's already done. And that's something that I admit that I can mess up. I can mess that up. And I'm trying not to do that. That's why people are like, what's your prediction? I'm trying to learn from that and to be like, look, I can't predict when this is going to happen, because I don't first off, it's a different modality of understanding. Second off, the way that they structure these things, it's not like, okay, this is the next step. There's like always a web of next steps, and they choose one based on what's going on. So whenever someone says this is definitely going to happen, that plan could change. That could have been the plan. The plan could change based on other variables. They have decision webs upon webs upon webs. They don't have a single linear trajectory. So that's relevant, and that plays into it quite a bit. But the one thing that we all know, I was about to say, it's probably about the family tension. Yeah, I know. People are getting really emotionally invested in this stuff. But look, man, I mean, look, you can always, you don't even have to take it from them if you don't want to at the end. You don't have to take it at the end if you don't want to. They're gonna have to learn this stuff in their own way. They're gonna have to learn it in their own way. And that's the way to do it. You could just say to your brother, I don't even want it. And then he'll probably give it to you in the end if you do that. He'll probably give it to you in the end if you do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I'm doing the best I can, guys. I mean, I understand my role in this, and I understand the bigger picture of what's going on. But anyway, I digressed a bit here. There was, when it became clear that it wasn't going to end immediately, and as the summer went on, it was like, no, this is going to last until the spring. And I felt that because it's like a rotation, like a revolution of the sun. And I've been telling you guys, like, New Year's is fake. New Year's is fake, right? It's a fake. This is a fake date. Doesn't mean anything. The months are fake. They're not aligned with anything. The real way that the month should be structured is, I mean, it should be. I was talking to Paul about this other day. Which, first off, the New Year's Day should be the spring equinox, okay? Because that is a new year. That's a new spring. The Earth is reborn again. First off, second off, the month should be just basically based on the horoscopes. Like you're born on the 1st of Aries, the 3rd of Aries, the 5th of Taurus, the 8th of Gemini, whatever. And that's the way I think we'll do something like that in the future. We need to get more aligned with the planet. We live on this planet. We need to get more aligned with it and how we live. But Salman, how the bets get resolved in the event of a dual inauguration. I want to reiterate this again. The Biden inauguration is fake. It's not a real inauguration. He's not going to be inaugurated legally. Okay? And so it doesn't matter that there was a fake thing. We have to think big picture here. And we have to be patient. We might not get our money till mid-year. We might not get it till summer. Spring, summer. We may not get it till then. But we will get it. Or the businesses will go out of business. I mean, that's it. We'll get something and they'll go out of business. I know, Salman, but you got to learn to be patient. You got to learn to be patient because that's the big lesson we're being taught here is patience. Let's put this in perspective for a second. People talk about the legal aspects of us getting our money back, and those legal aspects are enormous. I mean, we have enormous legal avenues to take this in. Okay, Betfair's easy, to be honest. Betfair's got the bank; they'll be able to pay it off. Predict It is a nonprofit. It doesn't really bode as well, but we'll see what happens. They'll go under otherwise, and that's all right. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't like it, but there needs to be accountability, right? That's what needs to happen. There needs to be accountability, so they can either cease to exist as a company or they can pay us their money back. And frankly, I think that there's legal avenues you can take that will, I think we'll be okay. Let's put it that way. I really think we're going to be okay. And also, guys, at the end of the day, we're going to make money through the new worlds and through the new system that's going to be established. But I want to put this in perspective. Forget about the legal avenues for a second here. Betfair wants to use some sort of technicality to deny us money. Okay? Let's say they want to do that. Do you think that once the entire Western population, global population, revolts against the elites and their regime is collapsed, and that we understand exactly what they were doing and how they were lying, and the people like Biden, right? A lot of the people who had won these races are in jail or executed. Okay? What do you think the optics are for a company like Betfair? What do you think the optics are? The laws are actually not as important as the optics, which is why we're going to, this is a kind of like I want this to be construed correctly, but us going to DC, yeah, we should legally be winning this, but on the other hand, it doesn't matter because they're already breaking the laws. What matters at the end of the day is that there's a million people there outside waiting for them. That's what matters, right? That's what matters. So public pressure is very huge. And my guess is that these companies, when all is said and done, they're going to be rushing to pay people back. They're going to be rushing to pay people back because they want to mitigate any sense whatsoever that they were associated with it. Guilt by association is a very, very big human construct, and it can be used in a negative sense very often, but in this sense, it wouldn't be. They're clowns, but the reality is that at the end, they either cease to exist. They either go with the old world, or they have to face, or they have to pay out. That's the reality. That's the reality of it. And I'm just not really concerned about it. I don't even know how it gets resolved. That's a question for a lawyer. People who got the money back would claim that they got the money and that they shouldn't have to pay it back. But I think in complicated legal lawsuits like this, where the disperser illegally or unethically gave out the money and they can't pay it back on their own, then I think that you can go after those who had the money for it. There's also the precedent that there's a lot of these betting companies that are doing double payouts. So look, don't worry about the money. But look, I want to talk about something else here. Let's go back to when is this stuff going to blow up? I think it's going to blow up with the Georgia runoffs. And here's why. The Georgia runoffs are a clusterfuck. They're a clusterfuck already. And we knew this was going to happen. We're talking about pallets upon pallets of ballots that are fake, that were found. Then when they asked to do a check of them, right? Wait, what's going on with these? They also have to go get shredded. We have video documentary of this. Patrick Byrne has done a good job with this stuff. It's crazy. And we also know that they're, it's just the usual big fraud stuff. They're keeping all sorts of fraudulent people on the rolls. They won't get rid of them. Stacey Abrams' sister is the judge blocking this stuff. It's going to be such a nightmare clusterfuck. Facebook removed the fundraising pages of Purdue and Loeffler. It's going to be such a clusterfuck. There's going to be an explosion. There's going to be an explosion of when they see what happens, because I bet you anything, it's going to be the usual ballot stuffing. And it's going to be so overt, so in your face, that maybe even normies are going to wake up. Maybe even some normies are going to wake up. I mean, look, normies are going to continue to wake up over the coming months. Eventually, it's going to be undeniable. I mean, you don't have to wake up, but you will literally be stuck in a place that doesn't exist anymore. So anybody who has some degree of resonance in them is going to wake up. They're going to be way behind the curve, but they're going to wake up at some point. Because how are you supposed to continue to deny this stuff? So I think that that's going to be a big impetus. And guys, I think 4, 5, 6, I mean, tomorrow is not going to be big, but I think 4, 5, 6, we're looking at some serious fireworks. Serious fireworks and information being dropped. Heading to a new year. But look, I want everybody here to be prepped for crazy shit happening. It's going to be crazy shit happening. Okay? Late January through February. It's going to be crazy. Crazy and confusing. If you want to get astrological, you have Mercury going retrograde again. Mercury went retrograde after election for the first couple of weeks. Okay? No one knew what was going on. So, let's see what we're looking at with time. Happy to take a couple questions here. I also have to, but first, a follower asked a question a little bit ago, and I told him I'd answer it in a COVID Cabal. So let me do that. But you guys can drop some questions in here. I'll take a couple before I head out to dinner. Let's see this for a second. Okay. So just to make a side point, I see on here the UFO disclosure. The UFO disclosure is going to happen, of course. I think it's in June, and that feels about right. We wake up, the world wakes up from cabal control in the spring. Okay, sometime between the equinox and Easter is when that's going to happen. It's about a 2-week period between the equinox and Easter. We're going to see like a wake up, and I think it's going to be closer to the solstice, the summer solstice, that we're going to start to get UFO disclosure information. So here's the question. Have you got any advice on how to best nurture young starseeds, how to best aid their early development? I think my 5-year-old cousin is one, and I remember you saying that you had a young family member who is one. At the moment, I just encourage her inquisitiveness when I see her, but would appreciate any advice. I thought you might have given this some thought, considering you're now likely responsible for your own young starseed. Also, big respect and appreciation for all that time you take to respond to DMs. Shows a lot. So, and guys, I do try to respond to all the DMs, even if I just kind of give like a like or something. I get a lot, guys. I get a lot. I get close to probably close to 50 a day. And if I don't check and filter that, it just more keep coming in. So I try to get to that. Sometimes it's late. I apologize for that, but I do the best I can under the circumstances. I do appreciate that you guys are reaching out. I appreciate the contact. By the way, I want to make a little point here. When we're in the Capitol, I am going to be meeting with one of the congressmen who is stopping the steal. Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina. It's a great guy. I think 2nd District, South Carolina. If you guys recall Joe Wilson back in 2009 or 2010, told Obama during the State of the Union that he was a liar, called him a liar in the beginning of that. And so Joe's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. And I don't want to pretend that I'm like super. He's a family friend of ours, but he's a good guy, and I was really happy to see that he had made the right decision with this, and he's going to go forward and stop the steal. He's going to be objecting. So I will be seeing him. If you guys are with me, 8:30 a.m. Those of you who are in the DM know where I'm talking about. We're gonna meet, and you'll be happy to you can meet him as well. So anyway, I just want to make that little side comment here. As for the question, nurturing young star seeds, I think it's really important. First off, they need a lot of physical contact, and they need a lot of love. They need to feel loved, and they need to feel honored as individuals. You need to give them space to do their own thing. They really value autonomy. They really value independence, and you have to respect them as individuals. You have to do that. They don't like to conform. And so if you have any sort of sense of like, why are you doing like this? Why are you acting like this? You just can't. You have to drop that stuff. Other than that, I think all they want is just to feel loved. I don't think that, they're actually pretty easy kids, I think, to deal with, so long as you accept them. They just need to be accepted, because they're already getting so much rejection from the world. When their family doesn't accept them, it really hurts, because they want to feel connected to people. And that's the big challenge for starseeds, is that their soul comes here. It's what everybody wants. But starseeds who come here are really about connection. They're really about feeling close and connected to people. It matters a lot. It matters a lot to them. And when they don't get it, it's a big pain point. So even more so, I would say, than other people. It just takes such a big priority, and it's harder for them because they tend to be misunderstood. And so starseeds tend to take this very long roundabout route where they're misunderstood and just sort of like not treated very well for a while, and have a hard time finding their own group. But I always liked weird people growing up. Whenever I would kind of I had like cool friends and stuff. I mean, I wasn't like the coolest kid in school, but I had cool friends. But I would have like these individual one-on-one friendships with people who were weird and who saw the world differently, because I appreciated them. I appreciated their difference. Um, I don't know. So you have to do that for starseeds. So let me see here, these questions. Well, I'm sure you are, Stacy. I'm sure you are a starseed. A lot of the people who are here are that, because you guys are all have your DNA activated enough that you can resonate with these things. So let me see these questions real quick before I gotta go. What am I gonna be doing? How do we get info coming out of DC? I heard there will be limited access there. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have info. I mean, I don't know how the press is gonna shut down. The hotels are either booked or being shut down right now, right? A lot of the hotels are not accepting people. And I've heard that the mayor may block transport into the city, which would suck. I don't really know how she can do that, but I guess she could do it. That's as bad as it's going to get. Okay, they can't stop us from going there. There's some ideas that the police are going to try to stop us from rallying. They're not going to do that. Doesn't matter what the order is. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not a million people facing those police people, right? And what are they going to do? They're going to start throwing tear gas in at families. They're going to start like tear gassing people. I mean, come on, it's not going to happen. If it does happen, all the better, because if they do that, then that's a real recipe for people to fucking burn it down. Like, they're not going to be able to stop that many people, and they're not going to be able to feel comfortable doing it because we're not rioting, we're not doing anything. We just simply are trying to go on public space, which we are allowed to do. So I'm not really concerned about it. The worst they're going to do is, shut down these hotels, shut down public transport. Look, guys, I mean, I hiked the Appalachian Trail, the New Jersey Appalachian Trail, without eating. So if I have to walk 8.5 miles from Maryland, I can do that. It's fine for me. I'm not particularly concerned about it. I mean, it's going to be cold, and 8.5 miles isn't nothing. And then I have to stand the whole day. Yeah, I'll be tired, whatever. It's like, guys, the energy is going to be so big there. You're gonna find yourself having a lot more endurance than you think. Bring yourself. I'm going to take an energy drink. I save them for special occasions. I like my energy drinks on special occasions. Take maybe a couple protein bars or stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll be fine. Some water. We'll be fine. I want you guys to not think of this in terms of obstacles. I want you to be safe, though. Okay, so first things, my rules, what I want you guys to know going into this. First off, be prepared to have water, some food that you can bring with you. Make sure to have warm clothes. It's not gonna be super cold. Low of 30, I see on the calendar right now. But that's still freezing. Okay, 30 is not pleasant, especially when you're not moving fast, right? So make sure you're prepared for all this stuff. Make sure to have some water, some food. They're probably going to shut down all the stores. So if you don't bring it, you won't really have it. But look, this is a once in a lifetime situation. It's part of history. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm almost like, throw it all at us. Make it difficult. Make it tough. Make it hard for us, because the more shit you throw in us, people who came across the country aren't going to be deterred. I promise you that. There are people flying across the country, people driving across the country. They're not going to be deterred by these little restrictions. Oh, wait, they shut down public transport, so we drive all of our cars in. They say we can't do it. What are you going to do? You're going to stop us? We'll park our cars wherever we are. You're gonna tow all of our cars? They can't do it. They can't do it. I would love to see them try to do this, because the people who are coming to this rally are not people who are going to give up easily. And the more determined we get, then that means that we're like, it's like a little compliance test, right? Or it's not compliance test, but the way that psychology works is that if you give someone a small obstacle to overcome, they overcome it. They're just going to make us more determined. They're going to make us more ready to take on Congress if Congress doesn't do the right thing. So I'm not worried about it. And I'm prepared to be there 24 hours. I'm prepared to sleep in my car. I'm prepared to sleep on Capitol Hill. Prepared to sleep on the floor of one of your guys' hotel rooms. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're in for a big surprise, but I think it's going to be historic, guys. It's going to be fucking historic. But I want to say this, aside from all the, the water, food, etc., shelter, this is really important. So if you're listening to this stuff, it's very, very important. Do not be by yourself, especially wearing Trump regalia after dark. Don't do it. Don't do it. DC is a dangerous city anyway, but some of these people Antifa are like jackals, and they're going to be looking for Trump supporters who are by themselves. So stay with a group. Stay with a group. I know we want to support our president, but don't wear your Trump shit when you're by yourself. Okay? Take off the hat, zipper the jacket up. You do not want to be seen by yourself wearing Trump stuff if there's a gang of Antifa or something. You just don't want to do it. Don't be one of those videos No one wants to see you get beaten up. I'm sure the Proud Boys and I'm sure other groups are going to be out doing their Antifa hunting. So there are going to be many people here. There are a lot. I mean, there are a lot of Trump supporters who are coming to this Capitol thing, and they almost want Antifa to fight. They're ready. I'm sure some of them are armed. I'm not endorsing that one way or another. Um, I think on one hand, it's foolish to not be prepared. On the other hand, it's legal to concealed carry in D.C. in Maryland. So be aware of the laws. If you make your own determination on this stuff, and also be aware of the optics. Right, we're trying to have positive optics for this, but I want you to defend yourself. So just don't be fucking reckless. But there's going to be Antifa hunting, no doubt, going on. But just be careful. Don't be caught by yourself. Stay in groups. But yeah, all right. So other questions here. How much longer do I think COVID's going to last? I think we're in second wave right now, and I think that they're going to push a third wave. I think they're going to push a third wave at some point later in the winter, early spring, and people are going to just say fuck it. Because as a result of all this stuff coming out, I mean, I didn't mention it, but one of the big things that Linwood said was that Epstein is alive. And I think he is alive. I think it makes sense. And, Magenta, remember way back that Magenta said that Trump captured some criminals and they told him some information. That would seem to be, Epstein would be a good example of someone who would have valuable information. And everybody knew that that whole scene about him dying was sketchy. People saw a different body being escorted out. Hell of a plot twist if Epstein is working for the White Hats at this point, that he's flipped and he's working for the White Hats. He would be the best person to flip. So, but yeah, COVID's done by the spring, guys. It's done by the spring. They'll make their third wave push. It's already done, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't know. There's just debating stuff like about does the virus actually exist in isolation? They can't find it. However, people are getting something. Are they getting the flu? It's just a different kind of flu. What are they getting? I don't know. There's something that's going around. There's also something that goes around every year this time. But the big thing here is that this idea of this disease at this point that's killing everybody. Look at China. China's completely open. It's just the biggest humiliation in the world. De Blasio says you can't be in Times Square. He's there dancing with his wife while she wears a pedo mask. She wears a pedophile insignia mask. Meanwhile, in China, they're having a regular New Year's Eve. But sheep don't pick up on this stuff. They still don't pick up on it. They still think it's like, well, it's a new normal. It's a new normal. I am going to do one more COVID cabal before I go to DC. I probably won't be able to do something live there, guys, because I would love to, but I think we all know that when there's that many people in a location, the self-service stops working. So almost certainly I won't be able to post anything, won't be able to do any COVID cabals in DC. But we will have one more COVID cabal prior to me going to DC. I don't know if it'll be Monday or Tuesday. I'm also going to try to get a dating relationship Periscope in Sunday, Monday. So we'll figure it out. Let me see. Let's go down this list. Yeah, Shadow Man's great. I don't know. Michael Keaton, I don't know enough about him to say. I don't think the supply chain is going to be really disrupted. I mean, there's a plan to take down electricity, which would affect refrigeration, but that's not going to be a big deal. I mean, get some extra food. There's no reason not to get some, but I would not have fear. Be prepared, but don't have fear around it. If you have 2 weeks worth of stuff, you're like solid. Do I still follow Big Dick Anon? He says presidential addresses tomorrow. I mean, I do follow Paul Ferber on Gab, and I find his stuff very interesting, but I don't know how much of an insider he is or not. Hey, we'll see. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, it seems like to me like Trump is going to be addressing everybody on the 6th. I don't know. I'll be trying to tweet stuff out on Twitter. Yeah, Maps of Conscience explained. Incredible. Yeah, Antifa will be there on the 6th. They won't be, or yeah, it's exactly. They're not going to be there during the day, but they at night, no doubt about it. Tiger, you know I might take you up on that. Thoughts on Trump and Israel? People saying he's pro cabal because he's so pro Israel. I mean, no disrespect to people, but um, they're just not really that smart, and they look at things very linearly. So Trump says this. Trump, you know, says Netanyahu is a good person. You know, he likes Netanyahu. Therefore, Trump's in bed with Netanyahu. You know, like Trump seen in picture with this person. Therefore, Trump's like, you just can't think that way. And uh, you have to read between the lines with these things. War is like high level war like this is deception. It's not everything's on the nose. Everyone would love it to be clear cut battle lines, right? It's not like that. Like there's a lot of evidence that for instance, the Russians are getting Palladian support, just like America. But you couldn't say directly, I mean, looking on the surface at least, you couldn't say that Trump and, US and Russia, Trump and Putin are good friends, right? You couldn't necessarily say that. Um, you couldn't necessarily say that like that's a very clear cut alliance because we've killed Russian soldiers under Trump's presidency. So you just can't look at things linearly. You have to view the forest. You have to make sure you see the big picture, and that Trump's had a lot of scummy people in his cabinet, and then it gets revealed later on. He keeps them there as long as they're useful for him, and then he gets rid of them. He gets their intel from them. So I'm going to give you guys ahead of time. I'm telling you, those of you in the group, I'm telling you guys where to meet me. And I'll be there for a bit, but I mean, I can only be there so long. So I'm coming early. I mean, I'm going to be waiting there for a while. So, you're in the group, you're going to get the information. Just make sure you get there when you can get there. I mean, you'll notice me before I notice you. And, we'll head over to the main area together. Yeah, just DM me. DM me. All right. I got to go now. I already talked about Trump pushing the vaccine. Check the beginning of the Periscope. DM me on Twitter if you're going to DC. All right. DM me on Twitter. I'll see you guys. Talk soon.